When someone passes, where do they go? Gone forever? Or can they show? What if you could find someone between to bridge the gap of those unseen?
I see departed souls, and I'm able to communicate with them. I get messages from beyond, from your lost loved ones. You may be surprised at what they have to say.
And ladies and gentlemen, here she is, the amazing Michele Livingston. Hey, Michele.
Hey, John Williams.
Welcome back, sweetheart.
How are you?
I'm good. We missed you last week. How you doing tonight?
I know. I'm doing fantastic. We have beautiful weather here, spring weather. It was probably 68 to 70. Nice warm breeze here in PA, and yeah, love spring.
Yeah. It feels like summer here, so.
What's the temp in LA?
Oh, I think right now it's probably around, it's in the 80s at least. Yeah.
Well, try to stay cool, sweetie.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm back here in the studio where it's freezing, so there you go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I missed coming on last week, so I took a little hiatus, but it's good to be back in the saddle.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back, and we're going to be talking a very serious subject tonight.
Yes, we are. I had an email, well, actually a phone call too, from a young girl last week whose fiance took his life, and she just found out she was pregnant.
Wow.
About a week before he did that, and so she wanted to know why, what prompted him to take his life, and he had been on drugs. But the family really didn't know that he was on drugs, but he was a great guy. So I was doing a morning drive time radio show Friday morning, and I brought her on, and it was very heart-wrenching, actually. And that compelled me to do something with suicide, because I have a lot of questions that come in.
Yeah.
How is my loved one, my son, my daughter? Why did they do it? And actually, John, the aftermath of suicide is really bad for family members, because they don't have a chance to say goodbye.
Right.
And I wanted to use my book, Living in the Afterlife, which has a chapter on suicide. And for those that are just checking in tonight, tuning in, there were 33 souls that came to me. I've been a medium for 27 years, and the first one was my mother, Dorothy, and she informed me 4 years ago I was going to write a book on heaven and what heaven was like. So I did, and the 33 souls that came through, some were clients who had passed, some were family members, loved ones, and actually celebrities, just a handful of celebrities. One of the ones that did come through, though, took his life. And so I thought we'd delve deeper into this issue.
Yeah.
Have you known anybody that took their life, John? You don't have to be specific, but
yes.
Yeah. And it's rampant today with drugs. It really is.
Yeah.
I have counseled, within the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years, more parents who have lost children with drugs, and it's filtering down from junior high. I think even elementary now. Elementary school. But that's not the only reason.
No, exactly. I mean, look at the depression rates these days, and the people just can't handle it any longer. I mean, that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, the depression rates are through the roof.
I know they are, and a lot of it can be some of it can be clinical or genetic, a predisposition for depression.
Yeah.
And when someone gets themselves down that far, it's very difficult to snap them out of it. Positivity is one thing, but when you actually feel tired and feel down, then it's difficult to bounce back.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody really wants their life to end. They just want the pain to end. They want the suffering to end, and it's unfortunately, I think some keep trying, and then the patterns repeat themselves, and then they're just like, I just can't do it anymore, and then they,
And that's a very good thought to bring up too. It's numbing the pain, running away from the pain. So it can be done in many different ways, as we know. We're not going to get graphic tonight, but her boyfriend used a gun, fiance, even though he was on drugs. So I helped to bring some closure to her
Mm-hmm.
and her family. And it was a beautiful reading, because he said from heaven he met the soul of their baby
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be born, and that he will always protect their child, and be a spirit guide and watch over their child. So that
Mm-hmm.
was grabbed my heart.
Yeah. Wow.
In the book, which you have up there now, Living in
Yes.
the Afterlife,
Mm-hmm.
the issue of suicide is mentioned. And I just wanted to read a little bit about it, because there's so many variables that enter into it.
Okay.
First of all, there's no condemnation with suicide.
Mm-hmm.
A religion teaches us that it's not a good thing. The downside of suicide is we cut our timeline short, earthly timeline,
Mm-hmm.
for learning soul lessons. And from all the souls that came and communicated with me for this book, right here it is.
Yeah.
They basically said that we soul contract a timeline, that we're in soul groups in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
The soul groups can be many thousands, but we have been with them in past times, and we come back again if we choose to, because we have free choice and free will. We come back again to learn certain soul lessons. Sometimes the going gets rough for a lot of us, but it's the intention, John, behind the action.
Right.
Where in the life review, which is a panoramic view of your life when you get over there,
Mm-hmm.
from the first breath to the last, you see your actions and you feel the intentions behind your actions. So let's face it, the earth plane's not perfect. No one's perfect. This is a training ground.
Yeah.
And I say at seminars, if you have chosen to incarnate, if
Mm-hmm.
you've chosen to stay here and learn your soul lessons, you should have a gold medal with wings on it saying, I
Right.
chose, I stayed, I arrived, and I'm still here.
And I survived.
How about it, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
survived.
Yes.
So I just wanted to address this one thing from the book.
Mm-hmm.
A mother jumping in front of an oncoming car to save her baby is a different type of suicide. Let's face it.
Yeah.
If you want to call it that. A courageous soldier taking a bullet to protect another soldier
Mm-hmm.
is also another variable. It exhibits valor
Yeah.
and courage.
Yeah.
The case of the World Trade Center,
Mm-hmm.
where people were trapped and jumping out of windows, taking their lives, that's a whole different thing as well. They did that from fear and smoke inhalation and every other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, again, the intention behind the action. If a person has lived an unselfish life, or tried to at least, and helped others, and yet took their life due to pain, which is what we just were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
or depression or
Mm-hmm.
despair,
Mm-hmm.
they still need to address the action when they get to the heavenly realms, when they make transition. Because what happens is, again, they cut their timeline short. So let me give you an example. If someone contracted a soul timeline of 82 years to learn lessons and be with their family, and took their life at 42,
Mm-hmm.
they're out of 40 earth years of living and loving and working on soul lessons. So someone watching or listening might say, well, what in the world would a soul lesson be? A soul lesson could be learning patience, which is difficult, or tolerance, whatever it would be, unconditional love. I mean, unconditional love's difficult, because if you can actually say that you love everyone in this world unconditionally, you're no longer on earth, because that's a training ground. You're an ascended one.
Yes.
In
Right.
the other dimensions. How about it?
Yeah.
John?
Yeah.
So that is how it works. And then, so the negative part actually of suicide is then, again, cutting a timeline short, leaving an aftermath of total grief
Mm-hmm.
for family and for friends. And we can never run away from ourselves. But again, if we have taken our life for revenge, or to hurt another person, or for spite, that's a whole different intention, isn't it?
Yes.
Behind the action.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what needs to be looked at. So I thought we'd cover this. I have had, oh my goodness, after all these years, so many questions about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is my loved one condemned? Where are they?
Right.
Well, we've talked about different energy frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that heaven is a higher, faster frequency than Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's with us here now, just like we have television frequencies and radio waves and so on. But we need to plug in, we need a conduit to see and hear. There's also many other dimensions of light and energy. But what I've learned from writing this book is that if you think of an onion, and the core of the onion would be the earth, with each concentric circle that goes out from the center of the earth, it's a different light frequency. So there is something called the gray area. It's closest to the earth plane, and that is where many times discarnate earthbound spirits reside. They're on earth, but yet they're a little step above earth,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not in the physical body. And the gray area is where people go sometimes that commit, let me put it that way, heinous crimes like Hitler, or murders and murder situations. And you saw the movie Ghost. We always
Mm-hmm.
talk about that with Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end, it was kind of freaky because these shadow people came in to take the one that was murdering other people. I don't know if you remember that part at the end. There's shadow people that came to probably take the soul to the gray area. Now, there's hope for those in the gray area, because
Mm-hmm.
there are heavenly volunteers that are
Mm-hmm.
human souls
Yeah.
and angels that come down to try to awaken us to get to the light, to get to the life review.
Yeah.
So not all souls that take their life go to the gray area. That's for darn sure.
Right.
Most of them would go directly to the light. So they see their actions, they see their ways, and that's how it is in the life review.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a dissertation from someone named Marie, who I had never met. And she lived, I think, in the 1950s. And she took her life out of total despair. Her mother was bipolar. She came through, I think, to me right before the book went to print. So she was one of the last ones that came through.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that she didn't mean to do it, that she didn't have an easy childhood. She came from a very dysfunctional family
Mm-hmm.
and was abused by her father. And so anyhow, she had a daughter, and she cleaned homes to earn a living. And she said one day she just couldn't take it, that she went to the shed of one of her clientele, her cleaning people, and she took a gun and took her life.
Wow.
It was very traumatic for me because she was very graphic with it. What was interesting is she said she floated around the farm where she took her life, and that the animals could see her. The cats and the dogs and even the horses, they carried on when they would see her spirit,
Mm-hmm.
but of course nobody else could. And she said she didn't realize it was 5 years of earthly time, that she was just kind of wandering around.
Wow.
She did see her body, though. When
Uh-huh.
she rose above her body, she looked down and saw what she had done. But eventually there was a male figure who was a heavenly volunteer that came for her. And her name was Marie. And he said, Marie, you've been wandering around here for 5 years. And there's in earthly time. There's no time in the other dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
Time's man-made here on
Mm-hmm.
Earth. And he said, I think we need to go and do work. And she says, I don't want to work. I've worked all my life. I didn't have an easy life. And what kind of work do you mean?
Yeah.
And he says, well, there's rehab stations in heaven
Yeah.
where you can go over your life, forgive yourself, and you can forgive others. So she finally was coaxed to go with him. And she was happy that she did. And the beautiful part now is that she's a volunteer, that when someone's about to take their life, she comes down to the earth plane along with a group of souls who took their lives, who were suicides, and they try to help them to gently get to the light.
Oh.
Sometimes there's fear involved after one takes their life. And also, a lot of times, John, there's just plain shock.
Yes.
Because you've heard about the near-death experience.
Oh, yeah.
So if someone's rising above their body, still being able to see and feel and
Mm-hmm.
hear and looking down at themselves,
Yeah.
it's quite a shock
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah, it really is. And the interesting thing that you mentioned about the rehabilitation is that that's a place of loving support, and it's not condemnation, because we're getting questions: is there a hell? Or, is it just the gray area? Is the gray area hell? Can we go into that a little bit and define that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's nothing wrong with organized religion. I mean, I'm Christian.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of fear.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do it right, you're going to burn in hell forever. Well, first of all, we don't have a physical body.
Yeah. Right.
So we're not burning physically. The gray area is more of a foggy, misty, lower sub-frequency.
Yeah.
I really don't believe in hell. I know there is a heaven, but I don't think we'd be punished for all eternity like that.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think we get one chance to perfect a journey. I believe in past times. I believe in past lives. I don't think God would give us one chance to perfect, John.
Right.
Do you?
I agree with you. I'm also, I always talk about the movie Astral City. We talked about that right before the show, but that there is a period where he is in the gray area, and the messengers come down to pick him up and take him into into heaven to be rehabilitated.
If you haven't heard of Astral City, it's subtitled, I think, in Portuguese.
Yeah.
It was really an eye opener for me,
Mm-hmm.
and when I say that, John, it was just paralleled my book,
Yeah.
Living in the Afterlife.
Yeah.
Because this gentleman slowly takes his life because he wasn't treating himself kindly.
Right.
He was in, I think, alcohol, drugs, and he finally passed.
Yeah.
And when he went over there, remember, there was like a gray, misty area,
Oh,
which
yeah.
really surprised me. It was almost a confirmation for me about the book. He was eventually met, though, by loving healers.
Yes.
That came to him to help him to get up and out into the light. And remember that there were hospitals even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the rehabilitation. Yeah, for sure. And that's the interesting thing was that, because when I first started watching the movie, and I always tell everybody who goes to watch the movie, I'm like, please stick with it because the first part of it is pretty dark. And I was just like, I don't know if I agree with this whole dark, gray area and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't watch these kind of movies, so I don't know if I'm going to watch this movie. But then I stuck with it, and it's a beautiful, beautiful movie.
It's all about love.
Yeah.
It's pure, unconditional love.
Yeah.
When he goes through his rehab, and then he understands why he did this to himself. He had low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And then he trains to be a healer. Also, or a guide for those that come over in a similar situation. It's a very eye-opening movie. It's called The Astral City.
Yeah, I have a picture I'm going to put up for people to see the gray area, a still from the movie. And it's what's really interesting, they call it umbral or purgatory. So that's interesting in itself. But right there, there's a screenshot for everybody to see. That's the gray area. It says, I woke up in another dimension known as umbral, sort of a purgatory. Yeah.
Now, purgatory is a belief, of course, of Catholicism.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
and he might have been, for all we know. So maybe that was just his own belief, right?
It could be his own belief.
Yeah.
Our belief systems tend to follow us to the other side.
Yeah.
And I really do believe in the law of attraction. I think that what we think is energetically going out into space, into the universe, and returning to us. So I do have emails where people say my life is so negative and I'm so cursed. No, you're not. You just have to start flipping the coin, and it's easier said than done. Putting things into the now context and loving yourself.
Right.
Love yourself. Forgive those that have hurt you.
Yeah.
We've all been abused. We've all been hurt. Let's face it. This is the training ground, as I said, John. But
you're right. This is the mission. This is the mission. And I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about, these video games and things that you play, or simulations that you do. You train for certain things, but then you're actually put into the actual it's no longer a scenario. This is no longer a drill. This is the real life thing.
It's like the real virtual reality.
Yeah. And you're just like, wow. So I think that on the other side, we prepare for this kind of stuff. But once we get here, we don't really realize how intense it is until after we're here. And you know what I mean?
Yes, we soul contract to come down. But it's easy from that higher perspective.
Right.
To see the world and the war and the negativity. When we actually enter it, though, and feel the denser, lower dimension, it makes it difficult. And I always say that's why babies sleep a lot. They sleep a lot because they're becoming used to the dense lower dimension.
Yeah.
And then children, of course, we've talked about that, can see spirits from 1 to 5. That's because their soul hasn't been in their body very long and they're still connected to other realms.
Mm-hmm.
And as we mature and go to school and have to learn, some of us automatically, for our own protection, will shut out the invisible realms.
Yeah.
Some children retain it. I've counseled some families whose sons and daughters still see and hear up to the age of 10 and 12 before they go into puberty.
Yeah.
And that's something. So the children have learned how to handle it. I've taught them how to turn it off so that they don't feel intrusion during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very interesting. And some children see color, which is the auric field around individuals.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know about that as well. It's quite an interesting journey when you're doing this type of work.
Oh, I bet it is. I bet it is.
I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Well, and I'm also learning that a lot of these children, these new ones that are coming in, they are actually new souls. So they're wise souls, but they haven't had many incarnations actually on Earth.
Yes.
So they're new souls in the sense of new to the earthly experience.
That's another
Yeah.
show. There are many dimensions. There
Yeah.
are star belts.
Yeah.
And we did a show on the indigo children
Mhm.
and so on a few months ago, which was quite fascinating.
Yeah.
Some of the children incarnating now, not to get off the subject, are
Right.
very sensitive and very creative,
Yeah.
very, very evolved.
Yeah.
And they're teaching their parents things
Yeah.
about the spiritual journey,
Right?
actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
So I had one celebrity that came through
Mm-hmm.
who took his life. He was a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I give the names out, sometimes I don't, but he happened to be Robin Williams, and I was
Yeah.
very, very surprised. We're about the same age, and he came through, and I heard his voice, and he said, "Hey," he was very kind of nonchalant about it. He said, "I'm sorry I had to do that with my family,
Mm-hmm.
or to leave them behind." He said, "But I was in so much pain."
Yeah.
And we found out later that mentally he was going into dementia.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the ALS. He was actually coming and going
Mm-hmm.
mentally and had paranoid tendencies. But he said that he didn't even go through the realms. He shot straight up to heaven.
Wow.
And his grandmother said, "What the heck are you doing here?" You have fans and
Uh-huh.
people that love you, and you've brought so much joy and happiness to so many on earth. And he said, "I was in such pain and mental anguish that
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stay on earth. I just couldn't."
Mm.
So we're
Mm.
human. We do what we feel we need to do at the
Yeah.
time that we do it.
Right.
So I wanted to clear that up a little bit about the fire and brimstone and the condemnation and the fear.
Yeah.
God, we were all created in love.
Right.
And it's for us to try to get back to from whence we have come, which is the Godhead, which is basically pure unconditional love. Yeah, I believe that we train to be helpers from that side. I believe that if someone's listening now contemplating
Mm-hmm.
suicide, think about, is it out of revenge? Shouldn't say it that way, but is it out of spite
Right.
or resentment, or are you in pain? And these are the things that you will address when you leave your body and go into the light and go into heaven.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote a long time ago when Robin passed away, I said, despite the pain, he gave anyway. Robin was the perfect example of someone who made us laugh while he was crying on the inside. It's a bit ironic how the bringer of joy suffered with the robber of joy, which is depression. Robin was the perfect embodiment of giving one's way out of one's own problems, giving one's way out of one's own problems, because in that moment, it all feels okay. You feel that in that moment that you belong, connected, and you have value. And that, really what we're all searching for is we're craving connection. We're craving to be valued. We're craving to know that we matter. And, depression is serious and it kills many. And that many of the people who are surviving outwardly are dying on the inside, and they're ashamed to admit it. Each day is a struggle, and they're surviving and they're not thriving. And so, he was always a champion of mine, and my hero for speaking out, and raising awareness about the stigma. He did that before he crossed over, and so I always remember him for the joy, the laughter, and the sensitivity that he brought us all, and so that was a very powerful time in 2014 when he passed.
And something else is interesting. I read an article where if you think of an iceberg, people that you see in the movies or on television, you're only seeing 10% of who they truly are.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the iceberg or the glacier out of the water. There's so much that's underneath.
Yes.
There are
So
many,
true.
there are
Yes.
many layers. There's a lot of strata of dysfunction or whatever they went or experienced.
Oh yeah.
So really, when you know somebody, you're not seeing them in depth. You're not seeing all that. And people, he's a wonderful bright light, but we only saw 10% of who he truly was.
Yeah, we saw his brilliance,
Yes.
how he could transcend so much of the pain that he was in and bring laughter to people in the midst of it.
Yes.
I mean, that's an incredible sacrifice.
The other movie that I love is the one that he did where What Dreams May Come.
Yes. Yes.
And his wife actually took her life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, well, he actually was, I think, killed in a car accident with his children. And his wife took her life. He found her in the gray area.
Yeah.
That just came to me. It was all gray because she was filled with so much fear.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very disconcerting. And so I went into some shows are upbeat and happy. We do shows on animals and pets and positive manifestations and confirmations or affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that this needed to be talked about really today or tonight, wherever you're located.
Yeah.
So if anybody has had a loved one that's taken their life, if they want to chat in the chat room,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
if you're looking at my fan page for the first time, this is aired from Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
and it's under UBN, Universal Broadcasting Network. So there is a chat room that you can go in.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it. Here we go.
All right.
www.ubnradiotv.com.
Mm-hmm.
We're on channel 2.
Yep.
So if you go in there right now and click channel 2, you'll see the show live streamed right now,
Mm-hmm.
being aired. And you can also leave comments on my fan page if you're new. I go back and answer each and every one.
Yes.
And I'm sure many people that are listening and watching have at least known someone who's taken their life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really feel that, John.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it was a stepbrother growing up. So I experienced that at a very young age. So
Do you know what what prompted it?
I'm not really sure. I just know that he was pretty unhappy. I don't know if it was mental imbalance, which probably was as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was a very young age when I experienced the first suicide.
Yeah, it's so traumatic. It's a real shock because it's unexpected.
Right.
There's no closure.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of conjecture and questioning. Why did they think? What were they thinking?
Yeah.
What were they trying to prove, or did they just throw the talent?
Yeah, exactly. I think that a lot of times it's when people just feel they run out of resources. They're coping with unbearable pain, and they never really wanted to end their life. They just, like I said earlier, they wanted the pain to end. But it's not the answer, So reach out to somebody, and there's a lot of shame in doing so. I know with depression, there's a lot of shame with reaching out, and sometimes at times you feel like there's nobody that can help you, like you've heard it all before,
Yeah, and people many times don't want to show weakness. They
Exactly.
want to keep that stiff upper
Yeah.
lip.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's counselors, there's people to talk to,
Yeah.
and know that you're loved.
Yes.
And that I feel sometimes maybe, John, people that aren't taught this think this is going to be the end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to end it. I'm going to be in a black hole somewhere, and it's over.
Yeah.
Little do they know that they don't have to, but they will keep going on. Since the soul is energy, the soul is eternal, and they need to view what they've done and so on. It's interesting.
Yeah, and look at the ones that actually do, who were contemplating suicide, and then their life changed, and they're, famous, or they're rich, or they're, whatever it is that they had been hoping for, and they're in a much happier place now, achieving their dreams and being an inspiration to other people.
Yes.
Because they held on. And a perfect example of that is J.K. Rowling, who did Harry Potter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Share that.
Yeah. So I posted that on my wall if people want to go back and check that out. But it's a little video about the fact that she was ready to give up and she was ready to move on. And so she, and was rejected from many attempts at being an author. And I think she was a single mother as well. So she had a really rough one. And I posted this on my wall. I'll have to, at 30, she wanted to commit suicide. Yeah, at age 30. So let me see. At 17, she dropped out from college. At 25, her mother passed away. At 26, she suffered a miscarriage. And at 27, she got married. And then it turned out to be an abusive marriage. So from there on, the circumstances, her daughter was born. And then at 28, she was a divorcee with severe depression. And so at 29, she was a single mother living on welfare. And at 30, like I said, she wanted to commit suicide. And she directed all her passion into doing the one thing that, that lit her up, that she could do better than anybody else. And, and that was writing. Mm. And so she was rejected, like I said, by countless publishers. And at 31, she finally published her first book. And we all know that today. At 35, she'd released 4 books and was named Author of the Year. Yes. At 42, she sold 11 million copies of her new book on the first day of release. And isn't that awesome? It's a survivor story. And
it is awesome. And I'm glad you shared that, because it gives you a little recap of her life and how it was not easy.
Yeah.
And I remember reading something about she was at her wit's end, but she was her mother had passed, and she was crossing a bridge on a train. Mm-hmm. In England, and she looked out the window and was thinking of her mother, and the first thought was, what if this train took me to another place, a spiritual place? And that's how Harry Potter was actually conceived.
Yeah.
Thought. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and and now it's worth more than $15 billion, the brand. $15 billion.
Mm-hmm. I know of Joan Rivers, her husband Edgar took his life, and it was very devastating for her. And I remember that she had her daughter, Melissa, but she was very upset and distraught. And supposedly she sat down and had a loaded gun on her lap. Joan did. Mm-hmm. And she was just getting ready to end her life when one of her little dogs, one of her little favorite terriers, jumped up on her lap and looked in her eyes and put its paw on her shoulder and looked right at her. Yeah. And she said, when that dog looked at me with unconditional love, I couldn't do it. She said, I put the gun down. Yeah. And that was it. So she said, my dog, she had, I think 3 or 4 at the time, saved my life. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a moment of being lucid sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes it's a wake-up call.
It is.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I think people get into their own spiral sometimes.
Right.
And it's really hard to pull yourself out.
So true.
But that dog saved her life, which I think is such an interesting story as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. So we're about 30 minutes into the show, and we've got a lot of questions coming in for the chat room, which I'll get to in just one second. I also want to give out the phone number. It's 323-649-8268. Again, 323-649-8268. So once you get into the call system, come into the chat room and let me know that you're holding. Let me know your area code and the first 3 numbers. I'll do my best to find you in the queue. We do pick calls at random, and when I say that, it's really Spirit picks the calls. And so, and whoever is meant to have a message today will receive that message. So,
and also, John, I want to mention before we take a call, that the May 21st seminar, which is on a Sunday of mine, is filling. It's probably almost full. So anybody watching that would like to come, it's near Lebanon, Pennsylvania, which is actually Lancaster County is great if you're coming in even from out of state. It's a tourist area. A lot of things to do. So you have my little seminar.
I do. So let's play that, and we'll come right back, and we'll jump into some calls. Okay. Is that good? Perfect. Okay. So we'll be right back.
If you enjoy the Michele Livingston Show and want to see her in person, check out her next live seminar.
So here we go. If you can work with me, close your eyes. We're going to take 8 deep breaths, and we're going to start.
Have you recently lost a loved one?
Who lost a husband recently? I had to take a deep breath with him. I feel it was fairly quick.
Could you be the next one to get a reading?
I think I'm with you, sweetie. There's a name like Bree, Brie. They're showing me cheese. That's the new one. They showed me Brie cheese and her daughter's name Brie. See how this works?
This seminar will provide an experience that will truly enhance your understanding of the other dimensions.
When we get over there, we train to help 1 or 2 people that are on the earth plane, and we train to be their guides or their helpers.
And confirm that you
There's a dad figure coming through here.
are never alone.
Did you enjoy it? Oh, thank you so much.
All right, and we're back.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really beautiful seminar. We have a buffet dinner. My co-host is my friend Jen Shade, which I talk about a lot. She's on the morning drive time radio show called The People's Morning Show. She's going to be the co-host. Wow, what a beautiful rainbow.
I thought we needed some light for the subject. So
that is beautiful. And it's already filling. So if you'd like to come to a seminar, you've never experienced one, people have curious natures. They want to know about a dream they had of their dad, let's say. They want to ask others how they feel about certain things. They ask me questions. I go over my books, do random readings, and we always have spirits, cocktails, excuse me, along with the other spirits. People love, it's a getaway. It's really,
right.
Sometimes groups of 8 book.
Yeah.
You know, they get friends together and come. So it's Sunday, May 21st, and that'll be at 2:00. And it's Quentin Riding Club is actually a beautiful horse club, but it's for everybody. And there's 45 lovely acres. So come join us on May 21st. And as I said, hurry up.
Yeah, it's filling up.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And we're going to be doing some events for folks who can't make it to Pennsylvania to meet with Michele, and we're in discussions about doing so, and we're going to start bringing some of these seminars to you, to your home online through webinars. We're just working out the logistics of everything, but do let us know if you're interested in this. We're probably thinking at least 2-hour event.
Or an hour and a half.
Yeah,
yes.
with the break or something in between, because I know it's going to be a lot. But we'll do like a book study. Right, we're going to study information from your book, and then we'll open it up for readings.
Yes.
It's going to be.
I had a message, an email on my fan page. A lady in Switzerland said, "When are you going to do a webinar?" But she said your show airs at a certain time, and it's 1:00 in the morning in Switzerland. So please take that into consideration.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people have. Wrote to me and said, tell me about the webinar. If I can't make it into Pennsylvania, what's it going to be like?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very similar format. There'll be questions and answers. We're going to delve deeper into certain subjects. There will be readings. We'll figure out how to pull people up into that.
Yeah.
And we're going to probably do one towards the end of July.
Great.
This summer.
Great.
So please, those of you watching and listening, remember that.
Yes. And in fact, you'll get to be seen on the webinar if you will like. We're going to be using technology that will allow Michele to see who she's reading and to experience that person in a video chat. So it's going to be really cool. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a split screen and they can.
Yeah. Similar to when we have guests on, which we're going to be doing more of as well with the show moving forward, having different guests and all of that. So
yeah, we will. We will. And I have someone in mind as well. Before we go on, too, I just want to announce the winner of the book. Now I wasn't on last week, but the week before, we were doing Miraculous Encounters and how Spirit communicates.
Yes.
Clairvoyance, clairaudience, and so on. Arlene Forbes from New Jersey near Atlantic City, Margate City. Congratulations,
Arlene.
You won my book.
Yay.
Yay.
And that was Miraculous Encounters, correct?
That was Miraculous Encounters.
Okay, that's this book right here. Okay.
That's that
Excellent.
book. And I will sign it for you, Arlene. I think Arlene lost her son and she called in a couple months ago from Atlantic City. And she shared it. If you share the show to a friend,
yes,
we look at the shares and then I pick a name. So so she's the winner of that. So my dear, we'll get to you somehow. Private message me your address, and I'll sign it and send it to you.
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to get to the calls. I do have some questions that are coming in. So Lisa in the chat room says, my daughter's friend committed suicide and she has not had any visitations from him. She often wonders if he made it. Do you know if suicide victims revisit their previous lives?
Some of them do. Some of them are, I'm not saying that this is the case, but some of them, like I said earlier, are very shocked. We're not taught that we can still see, feel, hear, and that the soul really is a body of energy. It's a light body. Sometimes when we take our lives, not all the time, but small percentage, may even hover around. I remember Whitney Houston came to me and said she tried to push her soul back into her body. Now, that wasn't a suicide necessarily, but some suicides even try to push their soul back into the body because they realize, oh my gosh, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Most suicides are not in pain, though. They tend to leave their body before overdose or before gun or before whatever. So because that soul hasn't communicated, it means they could still be in their life review. Remember, there's no time in the other realm, which is heaven. They could be in between dimensions, still working their way to the light. There's a lot of variables that enter into it. I would almost have to talk to Lisa.
Yeah. Okay.
And see what the story is behind that.
For sure.
But we all eventually get back to the source, which is the Godhead. We all do, no matter what we do and commit or do on earth, believe it or not. We're always given another chance to love. It's about love.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know Kelly and Shirley did a show about suicide survivors because it's a very difficult kind of position to be in when you have a friend or family member who commits suicide, and there's a lot of guilt and thinking that you could have done something to prevent it. And we did a whole show on that about suicide survivors. So if you look up Both Sides Now, TV, go to YouTube or on Facebook, and you can watch the show of Suicide Survivors with Kelly and Shirley.
Yes, there's an aftermath of guilt.
Yeah.
I could have been there. I should have been there. I could have had my child have counseling.
Yeah.
It really places a lot of that emotion on certain family members too.
It does.
So it's always the aftermath. It's the action, but it's what comes after.
Exactly. And this is something that, like I said, we could discuss in a webinar at length, because on a show we're limited because we have to get to calls. We have to do a lot of there's a lot of formatting that goes into the show. But with webinars and Michelle, I'm looking at the chat room. Everybody wants to do this webinar. They're saying can't wait for a webinar. Exciting about the webinar. So it's going to be really good. They're really excited about it. So
it gives people an opportunity to talk to me.
Yeah.
And have a one-on-one and be seen.
Yes.
Actually.
Exactly.
And all they would need, John, is their computer.
Yeah, just a webcam. Just a webcam, and then also they can call in through their telephone if they don't want to be on their computer. They can call in and listen through the phone. That's an option as well. So if they're on the go or what have you. But the good thing about the webinar is we'll be able to share slides like we kind of do with the show as well. But we'll be doing book study, so we'll be studying different chapters of your book and going into detail and things like that. We're working all of this out as we go along. Spirit's leading us. So, but let's get to our calls. I promise we would get to our calls, and we have several on hold right now. So again, phone number 323-649-8268, 323-649-8268. If you're on Facebook, please come over to the chat room. Let us know you're on hold, because I don't see anything from Facebook, unless Andrea wants to help me out tonight and let me know if there's people on Facebook that are on hold. I would appreciate it. All right, and we always appreciate when Andrea helps us out too.
Yes, thank you, dear.
Yes.
Andrea. We love you.
Okay, so let's go to our first call, and I believe I was chatting a little bit with Janine, and I would rather get her on the line to discuss this with you rather than relay it through chat. So let's get her on.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Janine, area code 410877. Hi, Janine. Thank you for your patience. I have you on the line with Michelle.
Hi, John. Hi, Michelle. Thank you.
Hi, Janine. What would you like to ask, dear?
Well, I was not going to call in tonight. I was just listening, and I've been compelled to call in because a friend of the family committed suicide on Friday. And it was all very, very tragic because right previous to that, his mother passed away.
I am so sorry. So it's a friend of your family?
Yes, a friend more of my sister, but I was at the wake and funeral for his mother, and then he committed suicide.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Janine.
So
And
sorry.
so
Wow.
you know that you need to give extra love and prayers for that family.
Yes.
And I'm sure it was well, it would have been a shock. Did they seem really able to kind of pull it together? Because I know when this happens, a lot of times memorials are put off.
I understand they had a very small private family memorial service for him.
Mm-hmm. And just last Friday,
Yes.
you said, "Oh heavens, I don't know if I can get him through, sweetie. It's too soon."
Too soon.
I'm sure. Yeah, I think so. If I would have his family, a family member, it might compel the energy to come through. But I know he's
Okay.
safe. I know he's safe. Do you know the motive, Janine, of why he would have taken his life?
There was something happened between him and his mother. Her death was suspicious.
Oh, so there was conjecture about his mother's passing.
Yes.
Is that what? Mm-hmm. And that would have thrown him off, because that would have been a lot of questioning. And so maybe he just wanted to join her. You know, would you think they were close, Janine, together?
Yes.
He and his mother.
Yeah, they lived together.
Aw, that threw him for a loop then. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not a psychic detective, so I'm not quite sure what happened with his mother, but I do have to say I don't know if it's as much foul play as they think it could be. I'm just feeling it's not as drastic as they think it was. But all I can tell you at this point, because it's so fresh and new with her son, I will keep that family in my prayers, sweetheart. I will.
Okay.
And I hope the show has. Do you have my book, Living in the Afterlife, Janine?
I do.
Okay. So you did the chapter on suicide help you?
I would have to read it again. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't read it in a long time.
There's so much contained in that book. But I wrote it to help people with different aspects of their life and how they passed and so on. The family left behind. But thank you for calling. And, you know, really maybe 6 months from now, he might be the first one through.
Okay.
I know
All right.
going to
I just felt compelled, so thank you for taking my call.
Well, thank you. And thank you for watching and for listening, sweetheart. God bless you. Mwah.
Thank you, Janine.
God bless you both. I love my Wednesday nights with you guys.
Oh, we're so happy that you attend.
Thank you.
And we're glad you called in. So just keep them in your prayers, the family and the person who passed on, because I mean that's another important topic, Michele, is that we pray for those who are crossed over so that they have safe journeys over. Is that right? Or so they have comfort and awaken, or have the visitors from the other side come to take them to the other side.
Yeah, we are taught to pray for those on earth if we want to, but really pray for those in heaven, because they need our prayers too. So there's power in prayer. No prayer goes unheard or unanswered.
Yeah.
And I've had souls come through to family members and thank them from the bottom of their hearts for the prayers that were sent up for them, because it helped to expedite their peace in heaven.
Yes.
And it helped them to get through their life review. So those that you love, please pray for them in heaven as well.
Which is interesting, because I always thought, you know, and again, from doing this work and working with all these wonderful mediums such as yourself, I didn't realize that once you cross over, you're not instantly enlightened, and it's something where it's a whole nother, you know what I mean? That it's not a whole new beginning, so to speak. It's really a continuance. And yeah.
I'm glad you said it that way, because if our soul's eternal,
right.
It's a continuation
of.
Remember, when we enter the body at birth, we have amnesia. We forget what we have experienced from the other realm or realms. And then when we pass on many times, we have to adjust to the higher, faster frequency. And we're trying to do that. And if we're not taught that the soul goes on, we're a little bit disconcerted, a little bit in shock. That's for sure. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful evolutionary journey. And like I said earlier in the show, everyone listening and watching, honestly, for you to incarnate, to stay here, to learn soul lessons, you should pat yourself right on the back.
Yes.
And
Especially
we
in
all should be
these
wearing a little
times.
gold medal. It says,
Oh,
I made it.
especially in these times. These are some rough times.
These
I
are
mean,
some rough times,
yeah,
John.
some rough
Yeah,
times.
they are. And my heart goes out to so many people.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we have several people holding. So let's go ahead and have you pick a number. Let's start with 1 to 20, and we'll work our way.
Oh, let's do 18.
All right, so Eric, okay, let's see, that would be 18. So area code 210. 210, you're on the line with Michelle. Can we have your name, please, and where you're calling from?
Norma Cantu from Blanco, Texas.
Hi, Norma. Thank you. All right, Michelle.
Hi, how are you
Norma
guys doing?
from Texas. How's the weather been? Is it hot in Texas?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's been 88, 89, up to 90.
Well, try to stay cool, Norma.
Beautiful. Definitely.
What was your question, dear?
Well, I wanted to see if I could maybe you could connect with either my biological dad or my adopted dad. They both passed.
All right, which one had heart or respiratory problems, Norma?
Excuse me?
Which one had heart or respiratory problems?
My adopted dad.
Your stepdad. All right, your stepdad's saying hello.
He raised me as a baby. I was adopted.
Yes. He's putting pressure on my chest, and that's how I know it's your that's who I know it's your stepdad. He had pressure before he passed, but he's fine and he's in the light. He tells me there's some good changes coming up for you, Norma. You have a very loving heart. He's letting me feel that about you. And he keeps saying, she's mine. Tell her she's mine. So he does take credit for helping you, for raising you. He says, you've turned out to be a fine lady. I have to laugh because honestly, I never know what in the world they're going to say. It just cracks me up. He says, you're a fine lady. And do not worry about being alone, Norma, because you'll never be alone as you get older. Are you with a partner now or not?
Yes. I am married. I've been married 44 years now.
Good for you. Congratulations. You both have longevity as far as the record of life shows me. Stepdad says he will be with you coming up. There's balloons, Norma. So Mother's Day is around the corner, but also someone's birth month could be or is around the corner in May. I see balloons, darling.
Yes.
So who is that?
Uh-huh.
Who is that?
My granddaughter. My granddaughter.
So your stepdad sends love to your granddaughter. When's her birthday?
May 9th.
Uh-huh. Oh, May 9th. Next Tuesday, I think it is. She's a beautiful girl, and he says he'll be watching out for her. Your stepdad takes a big role in your life. Of course, they're not with us all the time. They come and they go, sweetheart. But he takes a big role in your life. And think of him, would you? I also want to say you're going to find pennies, darling. And they're from him. He's a character.
Okay. I will be looking for those.
He tells me that you never have to worry about finances. I need to tell you that God will provide for you. But he used to jangle change in his pocket, Norma. I don't know if you remember that, your stepdad. And he's taking he's taking some of those coins and he's throwing them down at you, specifically pennies and dimes. Oh. So look at the year. Okay. He's going to be at your granddaughter's birthday party. Okay. Loves her. Oh. And with that are big helium balloons, and one's a big smiley face. All right. So he's strong around you, my dear. You have a wonderful time in Texas. Don't try to stay cool, because I know it's hot there.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
And maybe you can join us. And Norma, maybe you can join us for a webinar sometime.
Oh my God, I would love that. Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
So I'll get to see you, okay? Hopefully.
That would be awesome, Michelle. I would love that so much. Thank you so much again.
God bless, honey.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Norma. Take care, hon.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Aw,
God bless you guys.
sweet.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I have the best listeners.
You
and
do.
callers
You
than
do. And
John, I know you have all these other shows, but honestly, aren't they fabulous?
oh, I tell you, I love doing your show. I look forward to it every
I gotta
week.
get my bangs
Oh,
cut.
I know.
My God, these bangs are driving me nuts.
It's so funny. Andrea in the chat room was talking about that. She's like, she hates her bangs tonight, and then here you go,
I can't
start
say-
playing with them.
Andrea, let's you and I go next week and get these darn bangs cut.
Oh, I love it.
And then
I
you
love
can
it.
send a picture to me, Andrea.
I
'cause
love it.
They're driving me nuts.
I love it. All right, so we have our winner on the line, area code 609568. 609568. Is this Arlene?
Yes, it is.
Congratulations, Arlene.
And
You
I-
won the book.
I couldn't be more excited.
Oh, that's
I'm so happy. Thank you so much.
well.
Oh,
Go ahead, honey.
Arlene, bless you.
Yes.
Because our topic 2 weeks ago was how the spirit realms communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 10 chapters in that book. And there's 10 ways that the spirit realms communicate. And I have to say, you're really going to enjoy Miraculous Encounters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I will.
So what I want you to do is private message me your address. I'll sign it. And you're near Atlantic City, are you, dear? In New
Yes, I
Jersey?
am. I'm just outside of Atlantic City. But you
Okay.
know, Robin, my soul sister,
Yes.
God bless her. You, Michelle, you, John, and Robin are my 3 favorite people in the whole world right now.
Oh, thank
And-
you.
I couldn't be happier to win the book this week. I look forward to it so
Aw.
much.
That's
if
that's
I-
awesome.
If I remember correctly, Arlene, did you have a sun pass? This was a few weeks ago.
Yes, I did.
Have you had any messages? Have you felt your son? Have you received anything, from him, a message? Do you know?
Well, I have signs, and I live in a very, very special historic home that just seems like it's conducive to peace, and I have angels that are actually on the outside of my house, and it's a perfect home. And I just told 15 minutes ago, I told my daughter last night I was eating dinner in my bedroom, and I saw a flash of white in my bedroom mirror, and I looked, and it was gone, but it was almost as if it was a white shirt, like a white T-shirt,
Yes.
and I really feel that it was him in the mirror.
Oh.
I really, truly do.
I do too.
And-
I do too, Arlene.
And-
Go ahead.
And my daughter saw my son here in this house. We moved here a few months after he passed, and she saw him in the house. So I know he's here with me.
Did she see?
So, but it's
Arlene, did
just
she
funny.
see?
Go ahead.
Arlene, did she see his whole body or just from the waist up? Because many times you'll see them from the waist up.
She saw him down to maybe just below his waist, and he was walking from the living room through the hall, and he passed her.
Oh,
And I was standing next to her, but her face went completely white, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And she told me. She said, "I just saw Robbie." And it was a time when I really needed to know that he was here, but I feel him here with
Yes.
me all the time.
you feel him.
I'm just so anxious to know that that he's okay with everything that happened, and I know he has to be.
He has to be, Arlene. And I also want to remind you that mirrors are portals. And I need to explain this again, that sometimes souls will come through a mirror. The reason that is, it's a perfect conduit. The back of the mirror is a plain neutral area. The front of the mirror is our three-dimensional world, the Earth. So they will use mirrors many times to come through. If you think you saw a white shirt in that mirror, that was your son. I
believe it was, because right next to the mirror is a picture of his 3-month-old portrait. It's like an 8x10 picture, and it was right next to the mirror. But as soon as I saw it, he came into my mind.
Yes.
So I really felt that it was him.
Pictures, Arlene, also pull their energy down. So that would make sense, dear. And I do have to say, you have a figurine of an angel. It's about this big. It's an older figurine. It's not new. And is your mother passed? Is your mother passed away, Arlene?
Yes, she has.
She comes in and she likes this particular angel. It's a figurine. It looks older to me. It's not a contemporary looking angel. She's around that angel. So you go through your house and you find it. Would you please? Or on the outside? I
will. As I said, I have 2 angels that are on the outside of my house. My house was built in 1920.
Oh, my heavens.
And the former owner, he has these angels mounted over 2 doorways.
All right, well then you go find that one, because that's your mother likes that one. It's not real big, but she draws her energy there, darling. So I want to say congratulations, Arlene. I hope you like my book, hon.
I know I will love it. Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much. And you and John are the perfect pair. You beat out Kelly Ripa and Michael Strahan and all those combinations.
Oh.
The two of you really are onto something.
Oh, you're a sweetheart.
You're a great combination.
You're a total sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you so much. And
I'll message you my address.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. And you won that book because I think Robin's mother last time helped her win the book, right? So I think it's just the Soul family is reaching out to help you all win.
This is a soul group.
Robin just called me and reminded me. She said, "You won the book." I said, "No," because I was we were doing dinner and it was all crazy.
Oh, wow.
And so I said, "I'm dropping everything and I'm going on."
Well,
so thank you so much.
Say hi to Robin for us.
Yeah, and Robin's in the chat room. So thank you again, Arlene, and enjoy the book and keep in touch with us, hon. Thank you, and enjoy your dinner.
I will do that.
Okay.
I will do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you both.
God bless you, honey. Bye-bye.
Okay, so we're as good as Kelly Ripa in the part.
Well, now it's Ryan Seacrest is joined Kelly Ripa, so it's Ryan and Kelly.
There you go.
The Ryan Kelly Show. Yeah.
She's a character, isn't she?
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love you, Arlene.
Yeah, right. She's a sweetheart. All right. So let's move on to our next call. You ready to move on, Michelle? Yeah. All right, so we have Ralph on the line, I believe, from area code 717507. Ralph, are you there?
Hello, Michelle. Hi, John. Thanks for letting me on.
Sure thing, Ralph. Welcome.
Welcome, Ralph. Thanks for calling. Do you have a question, what would you like to talk about, Ralph?
Well, my sister overdosed. She committed suicide in 1981. She had she was manic depressive and she was schizophrenic, and I just miss her a lot and didn't really have time to say goodbye or anything. She did send me a card, and then I got the card 2 weeks after she passed.
Are you kidding? Oh, I'm so sorry, Ralph. That was a big shock to your family. What was your sister's first name, Ralph?
Elizabeth, Betsy.
Elizabeth. I need to tell you, I think I have her through for you. And she feels good about herself now. She got confused, Ralph, when she was on Earth, she tells me. It had to do with her self-esteem. I'm also smelling smoke, though. Did someone smoke? And did she smoke, or do someone now in family smoke?
No, she smoked.
Yeah, well, that's her way of linking in. As she links in, the smoke is coming in. She looks good. She doesn't want to look older. She looks younger. She's wearing jeans, and she is connecting with mother. Is your mother passed away, Ralph?
Yes.
Yes.
Is your mother passed?
Yes, she's passed.
Okay. Your sister, Betsy, is with your mother. I have your mother through too. So you have 2 for 1. And your mother tells me that she's glad you moved. Did you relocate, Ralph?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we moved to Delaware. Yeah.
Okay. These bangs. Let me tell you something. Your mother prompted the move. She says that you're a warm weather person. You needed a change. I don't feel you were as appreciated where you moved from to where you are now. So it was a very good move. Betsy is going to send you butterflies, Ralph. I want you to watch for them. You've had a lot of loss in your life. I hope that you are happy to hear from her. You do not have the same condition. Listen to me. I'm not getting bipolar with you. I know that you get a little confused at times and you worry about yourself. Please don't worry about yourself. Do you hear me, Ralph?
Yep.
Music's very good and soothing for your soul. If you listen to music and if you play music, keep up with it, would you?
Yes, I will.
Your sister has her ears pierced. Isn't that funny? She has her ears pierced. She's been through rehab, and she and your mother have reconnected, and they're happy, 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 happy. Okay. When she overdosed, I want to tell you something. I feel dizzy, but I'm not in any kind of pain, Ralph. She made a fairly smooth transition to heaven.
Good.
Okay. So I'm glad excuse me, we're on a delay. I'm glad I could get her through for you, and I'm glad I could get your mother through. Mother looks fantastic.
Okay.
Would you remember her on Mother's Day?
Okay, I will.
All right, darling.
Thank you,
Take care.
Michelle. Thank you, John. All
Thank
right.
you, Ralph. All right, man. Take care.
Oh.
You too, thank you.
You know, that's difficult with the overdose.
Yeah.
Because that's the other question people have. How did they feel when they were passing over?
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of them, had some pain lingering. Other ones just floated up, to the next realm.
Yeah.
So, anyhow,
Whew.
do we have one more to go here?
We
darling?
sure do. We do. We have area code 907-907-347 on the line. I believe this is Brenda. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, John. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Good. And you're calling us from the North Pole, right?
Yes, I am.
Wow. We'll never get over that. I just remember that.
I know. It's just really, I don't know what it is about that, Brenda, that cracks me up. The North Pole.
Yeah.
So now I have to ask you, I'm going to ask you, Brenda, how's your weather in the North Pole?
Right. It's pretty nice. Right now it's about 60 degrees, which is pretty warm for here.
I was going to say, is it summertime?
Yeah.
60. I mean, 70 would be like a sweltering hot day for you guys, right?
Yeah, 70 would feel like 90 in the lower states.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, Brenda, did you know anybody that took their life since we're on this subject?
I do. My brother-in-law took his life May 8th, 2013.
So the anniversary's on Monday coming up, May 8th.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and your sister, is she still on Earth, your sister?
Yeah, it's actually my husband's brother.
Okay, I gotcha. Oh, I'm so sorry for that. Did you know why he took his life, Brenda? Did you delve into that part?
No. Yeah, we don't know really exactly why. We don't know if it was depression or what. It was a shock, and he was 42 years old, had a wife and 2 kids.
I'm so
and
sorry.
his parents are still living.
Yeah. I feel he was under a tremendous amount of pressure, but he put himself under that pressure. It was emotional and it was financial. And I see him dressed down, very casual. He is sorry he did that. He's sorry he hurt his family, is what I'm hearing. But he just couldn't cut it, Brenda. And he sends a great deal of love back to the bro, which would be your husband. With that kind of pressure, that when we browbeat ourselves and we put pressure on ourselves, sometimes it's hard to pull up and out of that. And I want to really say there is depression back in that family somewhere, darling. So it's something that he just couldn't overcome. And I'm sorry about it, Brenda, but he's in the light and he's okay. So you tell your husband that, okay?
I will. Wow. Okay. I have a question, maybe if you could answer, Michelle, about that. After he had passed, I had a dream, and I felt like his spirit was telling me that he would be watching over and guarding my son. So I didn't see his body, but I just felt his spirit in my dream.
You felt him. He could very well be a guide of your son's, Brenda. So he would be an uncle, of course, to your son. And your son knew him? Did your son know him?
Yeah. Yes, he was, my son looked up to him big time. He was his mentor. He really thought a lot about his uncle.
Well, guess what? He's a mentor now, my dear. Your son, he keeps he keeps your son out of harm's way. That's for sure. He's been over long enough to build up the energy, though, to say hello. A lot of times when they're newly passed, they don't have that type of energy, but he does. And does your son drives? Does he drive? How old is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
28.
He's gonna be protecting him in the vehicle.
Good. Because he's got a vehicle, and he also has a motorcycle, which worries me sometimes because he likes to push the limit.
I know it worries you. That's probably why it's being mentioned by your brother-in-law. So yeah, I'm so glad we could get him through. He says he does have remorse. He says, but still, he says he's working it out in heaven, and working. He's working the way he needs to work it, if you understand what I'm saying. He's okay with everything now.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So bless you, darling. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're a doll.
Thank you to my brother-in-law. Thank you for what you do, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Sure thing, Brenda. Thank you. Take care. We'll see you next week.
Yes, definitely.
I just, honestly,
right, thank you.
Of all the listeners and so on, she's pretty devoted there.
She's great. Yeah.
Because we've been on 7 months, John?
Yeah, and I think the first time she ever called in was when we had Jeannie on, right? And the Clairvoyant Gourmet.
Oh, it was cute because it was Christmas time.
It was Christmas time, exactly.
And there was a green screen with a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And the Clairvoyant Gourmet was on, and we were talking about Santa. And actually, the Clairvoyant Gourmet flew out to Beverly Hills to be Mrs. Santa. Remember that? She was on Wilshire Boulevard. She was Mrs. Santa. And then we got a call from the North Pole from Brenda, and we didn't believe it. We said, "There's no way you're calling from the North Pole."
Yeah, I remember.
It was just hysterical. We've had some good times on here.
We definitely do. We definitely do. All right, so let's move on to our area code 717-696. Area code 717-696. You're on the line with Michelle. Can we have your name, please? Where you're calling from?
My name is Rebecca. I'm calling from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hi, Rebecca.
And Rebecca, yes. And I have met Michelle before. She did a reading for me at the Metaphysical Church here several years ago. And she kind of warned me about what was going to happen. My brother took his life in December of 2012, and it was just devastating to us. My mother had been battling cancer for several years, and that's another thing that Michelle had told me was going to happen to my mother, which ended up happening. I mean, Michelle is definitely connected.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
So
and
much, Rebecca.
I just want to know how my brother is doing. I know he had a lot of healing to do, you know, in his afterlife. He was very distraught at the time. He was actually on the telephone, and this is from some friends of mine who interrupted the call, who called him at the same time he was holding a medical call, and he said, I can't talk right now. I'm on hold with this medical payment place. So, and then apparently he took his life while he was on the phone with this medical collector because he'd had some surgery and he was recovering, and I just want to know how he's doing. He had a lot of problems in his life.
Yes.
I don't know if you can help me.
Yes, Rebecca. I need to say at the end, of course, your brother was very frustrated. Your R, is there another R somewhere in family, initial R?
Well, another R.
Yeah.
Well, I have a niece, Rachel.
Okay, that's okay. What side of the family?
Another R.
What side of the family is Rachel on?
My mother's side. She's my niece. She's my sister's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, and my sister and brother and I are the only children.
Are you? And your mother's passed away? Your mother?
Yeah, mother passed about 3 months after Jimmy died.
Okay, I have to say, Rebecca, I have your mother through. She has a big smile on her. She has a big smile on her face. She's happy that you have taken a stand for yourself on your spiritual journey. And with that said, we're not taught about spirituality, but you've been able to go the extra mile out of curiosity. You'd mentioned the Lancaster Metaphysical Chapel. That's a great place to go because there's a lot of healing that takes place there. Absolutely. But your mother tells me that you have found yourself, Rebecca, and you have found your own source of healing, and you've been able to help yourself. And I want to say she's very proud of that with you. I think you would take more of the homeopathic. I think you would take more of the homeopathic route, if anything would come up, rather than chemicals, because I don't feel that you are an advocate of chemicals. But your mother is lovely. That is correct. Mm-hmm. Your mother is surrounded.
That is correct, yes.
We're on the delay, so I have to wait. I'm used to talking fast. Your mother's surrounded with rose pink light. And she has a whole armful of the most beautiful flowers. They are lilacs. I need to tell you, I smell lilacs, lilies, roses, just an armful of flowers to give you, darling. And I do also have to say she acknowledges Rachel. Isn't that interesting? Acknowledges Rachel, the other R. And I have Jimmy through as well. And he says, basically, Rebecca, he says, I've made it. He says, upset and almost angry at life. He was going to say pissed off. I'm sorry to say it that way, but that's what he was going to say. So I might as well tell you what he's saying. That's what he says. He says, I was PO'd. He says, I tried to get places where I needed to be on the emotional and psychological level and even on the physical level. And he says, I was just angry. He was angry inside. And it's nothing that you did or your mother did. But all that is released now, Rebecca. He's free from all that. He comes in winking. He comes in a positive mode. He comes in smiling. He puts his arm around you. And they have both been helping you with your own journey. Since they passed away, they've been on your side helping you to get to where you need to be. And that's a very good place, darling, where you are right now. You understand?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Oh my, I feel all of that.
Do you? That means you're an empath. That means you're an empath. But I hope our paths, Rebecca, I hope our paths cross again. I'll be in Lebanon, on May 21st. That's not far from Lancaster.
I wrote it all down, and I get your emails. So yeah, I may plan on being there. I hope I can be there.
I hope so. God bless. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Love ya. Bye.
Love you too, sweetheart. Yeah, I'm glad when I get calls from people and get confirmations, John. That's important.
No, that was a beautiful call.
She's
I mean, it's unfortunate that the predictions came true in the sense, but you prepared them for it,
Well, here, the predictions, and I don't really predict, but if I see symbols, like a spiral downhill means health's going down, or if somebody's clinically or genetic depressed, that comes out. So there are forewarnings. It doesn't mean that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because we all have free choice and free will.
Right.
But at least it prepared her.
Yes, exactly.
For the loss.
Exactly.
It prepared her for the loss. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. How are you feeling energy-wise? Do you want to take any more?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe one more.
One more.
And then I think that we'll call it a night.
Okay, you got it. All right, so let me go ahead and let's go back to the number system. Let's go ahead and have you pick a number.
John,
because I've been picking some as we go along. I haven't been picking numbers, calling out the numbers. I've just been picking the phone numbers. But let's see here. You want me to pick a number? I feel that. Okay, I can feel it. So you're like, pick a number for me. All right, so let me go ahead and do that. So let's see here. We have area code. Let's see. Okay. Let's go with area code 484. Area code 484-752. 484-752. You're on the line with Michelle. Can we have your name, please, where you're calling from, and your question for Michelle?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear us okay?
I'm not sure if you called me or not. Did you say 484-752?
Yes. Is this
8613?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh! Am I actually talking to John?
You are.
I can't believe it, and Michelle.
You are.
You don't know how this is like a miracle. It really is. This is the first time I've ever called, and I never expected to get through.
Oh well,
and I heard you say 484, but I didn't hear the 752, and I thought, oh my gosh, it can't be me.
No, it's you. Is this?
I have a question. About. My uncle just passed
get her
on
name,
Friday.
John.
Okay, honey. Can we have your?
I'm sorry. My name's Terry.
Terry. Okay,
just
great.
a minute.
Okay, Terry.
I don't have a speaker on, but I am on a cell phone.
That's okay.
Does that mess up your reception?
I think we hear you fine. Do you hear us okay?
Okay. My uncle just passed away on the 28th. I'm going to see my aunt tomorrow. They've been together since they were teenagers, and I just wanted to know if any of my family had any messages for me to give to her, because I know this. I know he had diabetes, so he was really in a lot of pain. But I know it's got to really hurt her to not be with him, after all these years.
Terry, did they get to their 25th wedding anniversary and beyond, right? The silver.
Yes. Yes.
And what about the 50th? Were they heading towards the golden?
You know what? I'm not exactly sure how many years it's been, but I remember when I was a little kid walking up the street with her, and she was a teenager, and they were together then. So I don't know exactly what year they got married, though. I know it's been a long time. He was like 82 or 83, and she's 81, so they've been together probably close. If it's not 50, it's close to it.
Terry, what's your uncle's first name?
Richard.
See, I was almost hearing Richard with the last caller. That's why I wanted to know where the R was. I have your uncle Richard here. I know he just passed.
Oh, really?
He says, "Hi,
oh my
Terry."
gosh, I never thought he could come through. That's why he has 3 relatives. Oh my gosh! Oh, I can't believe it.
He goes, "Hi, Terry.
Oh, this is.
Hi, Terry.
Hi, Uncle Richie. Oh my gosh.
Tell my wife
Oh,
how
this
much
is
I
wonderful.
love her. Listen to this. Tell my wife how much I love her. Tell her I'll always be by her side. Tell her that I'll tuck her in at night." And he shows me a wristwatch. Do you?
Oh.
No, I don't. He wore a wristwatch, I'm pretty sure, and I think she has it.
Uh-huh.
He wants her to give
okay.
it. He wants her to give it down to a younger male in family. Do they have a son, Terry?
Their son passed away 2 years ago. Their son just passed away, Michael, 2 years ago from diabetes too. So I don't know who else. Oh, I know the grandson.
Yes.
Luigi is his name. It has to be him.
Okay,
Aww.
Terry. Terry. Listen, I have their son Michael through. I have Michael.
Really? Oh my God, my cousin Michael. Oh, yes. I can't believe it. I knew they were going to be together. I knew it. Oh, this is fantastic.
Mike says, "Hi, Terry. I'm with Dad. Tell Mom we love her."
Oh, hi, Mike. Oh, I love you, Michael.
and tell Mom we love her. And I do have to say she needs.
Will.
Terry,
wow.
Your aunt needs to have pictures at the memorial. Okay, when's the memorial?
They might not do it until June.
Okay.
They thought that I think my uncle thought that he wouldn't be able to handle it. Now this might have changed. I haven't been over to see them yet. I just talked to her shortly on the phone. So I think that the things might have changed. The last I heard, they weren't doing anything till June.
They're supposed to bring pictures. This is what Uncle Rich wants, and Michael, for you to do. And I want you to keep open to the month of August. August is also mentioned.
Oh, okay.
That's someone's birth month. Okay, darling?
I think that's my aunt's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my aunt's birthday.
They're acknowledging that, and they will be there for her in the month of August. And Uncle Richie wants her to give the grandson, thank you for confirming it, some of his things when the grandson is older. Okay, Terry?
Get him the watch?
Yes, and some of the things when he's older. And there are rosary beads, darling.
Oh, rosary beads. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So somebody was Catholic or is Catholic?
That's the whole family.
Oh,
we're all Italian, Catholic and Italian. Yes, definitely.
And then there's a name
that's fantastic.
There's a name like Anne, Annie, Anthony. There's an A-N sounding name somewhere.
I'm trying to think who Anthony would be.
Or Anne.
We do have an Anthony, and I think my senior moment is coming. I have to think about Anthony, but I'm sure they'll tell me right away.
Okay, either that or Annie, Anne or Anna. That's the spouse sound that I'm getting.
I don't.
Terry. So
okay, I'll write that down. I'll write that down too.
And you email me, private message me on Facebook because the names are always correct, darling. Okay. So I'm glad I could get your uncle.
Yeah, I will definitely get back to you. I have a reading with you on June 3rd. So I'll be able to confirm everything with you.
Awesome. Great.
Well, listen, would you remind me, would you tell me that you called? Because I'll forget by then, okay?
I know you said that, you trans channel, so it's not a memory, it's just they're coming through you. I do understand that, so I will remind you, believe me. But this is just amazing. I'll be able to play this back for her. So this is wonderful. She'll be able to hear it tomorrow. She will be amazed. She really will. This will be. This is something that this will really touch her heart. So, another thing I wanted to ask you, Michelle. I wanted to get your book on how to sell, the book that you have that tells you to be able to sell a house, and I couldn't remember the name of the one that you said it was.
It's Messages from Beyond. Messages from Beyond.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Messages from Beyond.
You can get that on my website, sweetheart. And if you get that on my website, I will sign it for you. Okay?
Okay, that's great. I was hoping. Okay,
Yeah.
I will definitely get that. And what would be the best book to give my aunt? Do you know? Well, of course you know. This one, living in the afterlife, or Miraculous Encounters, because tells the. That's what I was wondering, if that one. Yeah, I was wondering about that one. Yeah, that sounds good. So I'll have to get that one too. Okay.
All right, Terry. You take care.
So glad you got through, Terry. Thank you for calling.
Oh, I am. Oh, thank you, John. Thank you, Michelle, so much. God bless you both.
God bless you.
I love hearing you. So I listen to you every day at work.
Oh, we appreciate that. Well, keep in touch with us.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
I will. I definitely will. Okay.
Great.
Good night.
Big
love
hugs.
you.
Bye-bye. Oh,
some
wow.
great calls tonight.
Oh, such loving people. It's just such a reminder that there are some really good, loving people out in the world. You know.
Yeah. Yes. You have to think that way.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
You know,
So thank you to everybody who called. We really, really do appreciate it. I know we didn't get to all of them, but we did our best to get through as many as we could. And Michelle's gone a half hour over, actually, in order to accommodate. So, but we'll be back next week. But in the meantime, the important thing is for you to sign up for Michelle's newsletter. So if you go to her Facebook, you can actually click on the sign up button there. I think I put it on there the other day.
Actually, it's the website.
Yeah, but it will take them right there. I actually created a button on the Facebook now that takes them to the website so they can sign up.
Perfect.
So they can start doing that. Yeah, and you know, because I know a lot of people are watching on Facebook now, so there's a sign up button there. So also I asked earlier, if you have a webcam, let us know so we can get you in the testing for the webinar that we're going to be doing really soon. Just a comment on the video below here that you have a webcam and would like to help us test. Be sure to pass on this video by hitting the share button, and comment in the comments that you shared the video with somebody by tagging that person. And you tag them by hitting the @ sign and then typing in their name. Okay? And then that way we can track how many people are sharing, and it can pass the message on, because this is a very important topic. And I want to thank everybody for, the wonderful questions and for the calls today. Right, Michelle?
And yes, and you are the best. John, I love you.
Oh, you're awesome.
And what is our motto?
Always be kind. Always be kind. And before we go, one quick question. I was texting with Kelly during the show, Kelly White of Both Sides Now, and she was saying for folks to check out 13 Reasons Why on Netflix. It's all about suicide, and it's a scripted series called 13 Reasons Why. It's on Netflix, and she mentioned that to the audience. So, and hopefully you'll be seeing Michelle on Kelly and Shirley's show, Both Sides Now, real soon, and we'll have Kelly and Shirley on this show. We'll do a little cross promotion.
Yay.
So, all right.
Sounds good.
So everybody take care.
Thanks, everyone. God bless.
Bye-bye.